Karma yoga is a way so that we can live an established Sankhya Yoga, the knowledge, the wisdom. But when we're doing selfless seva or action, then what happens? The mind gets purified. And the more you move away from me and mine, the quicker the purification is. That's when you find freedom. How do you know the mind is getting purified? How freely you move into life. We're at verse 5, correct?
Nahi kaschit kshanamapi jatu tishtatya karma krita karyate yavashah karma sarvah prakritir jairgunaihi.
Surely none can ever remain inactive, even for a moment, for everyone is helplessly driven to action by modes of Prakriti. We spoke a little bit about this, no? Sometimes we get into the path and then we decide, okay, I don't want to do anything, I want to leave everything and go off into the Himalayas or become a full-time teacher or some such thing. As if that's going to have no activity. You know? It's not possible. I think I said something last week that really stuck with me. We have Shiva and the eruption, the projection or the manifest world on the foundation of Shiva is Shakti. So the word Shakti means movement, energy, activity, right? So everything that we see, touch, feel, everything is Shakti, is movement, manifest world, and only one thing is self. So there's only these two things. Either there's stillness or there's activity. There's nothing in between. So inaction is not the same as non-action. That's really the distinction that's being made here, right? Inaction becomes action. Choosing not to act is an action in itself. Non-action is something else. Are you clear? You hearing what I'm saying to you? Yeah? So it's not possible, Lord Krishna is saying, to remain inactive even for a moment. For everyone is helplessly driven to action by modes of Prakriti. Helplessly means you have no say over it. Activity is part of nature. So just get rid of this idea of I'm doing too much, I need to sit quietly and do nothing. Can do nothing. It's not possible. Yeah? Continue.
Karmendriyani samyamya ya asti manasa smaran indriyarthan vimudhatma mithyacharasa uchyate.
He who outwardly, restraining the organs of senses and action, sits mentally dwelling on the object of senses, that man of deluded intellect is called a hypocrite. God loves this word, you know. I think this is like the third time he's called out this word of being a hypocrite. Pretending to do one thing, saying one thing, and doing another thing. We know this. We sit down to meditate, seemingly no activity, right? When we sit to meditate. But then what are we doing? We're planning, we're doing work, we're doing organizing. The mind is busy. The intellect is judging, deciding, I should do this. No, I have to do that. Okay, I got to do the laundry. Okay, I got to pack. All right, I'll just get up and pack right now and then come back to meditate. I'll do the laundry. I'll fold. Continuous activity is going on in the mind, even though we think that we're not being active. No? Go.
Yastvindriyani manasa niyamyarabhate juna karmendriyai karma yogam असक्तः विशिष्यते.
On the other hand, he who controlling the organs of sense and action by the power of his will and remaining unattached undertakes the yoga of selfless action through those organs, Arjun, he excels. Controlling the organs of sense and action means the limbs and the senses. If you have some say over it with the power of his will and remains unattached, undertakes the yoga of selfless action through those organs, he excels. It's quite self-explanatory. Yes, you're hearing what is being said. No? Continue.
नियतं कुरु कर्म त्वं कर्म ज्यायो ह्यकर्मणः शरीरयात्रापि च ते न प्रसिद्ध्येद कर्मणः.
Therefore, do you perform your allotted duty, for action is superior to inaction. Desisting from action, you cannot even maintain your body. It's very clear, no? Very, very clear. Do what you have to do. He spoke already quite a bit about this in chapter 2. After Sankhya Yoga, after the knowledge, he went into giving the wisdom around yoga of action. No? Yes? Go.
यज्ञार्थात् कर्मणोऽन्यत्र लोकोऽयं कर्म बन्धनः तदर्थं कर्म कौन्तेय मुक्तसङ्गः समाचर.
Man is bound by his own action except when it's performed for the sake of sacrifice. Therefore, Arjuna, do you efficiently perform your duty, free from attachment, for the sake of sacrifice alone? Look, again, I just will remind you very briefly. When Arjuna came onto the battlefield, it was for himself, right? Me and mine. Get even, somehow make sure that there's a vengeance for his wife and get back the kingdom and the throne and make sure that his brother becomes the king and so on and so forth. That's what brought him there. And then through chapter 1 and 2, because he's now decided, okay, what is the point of all this? Lord Krishna has told him, move your intention. You're a warrior. You're a prince. It's your duty not just to take care of your brother and your wife and so on, but also do what is good for the kingdom, the citizens, for their sake. Do you see? He's moved him a little bit forward from me and mine to you and ours. But that's not enough. It's still you, us, ours. There's still some ownership. He's going to have to move completely further into it. One thing you have to understand, the confusion that Gurudev spoke about, which we also spoke about the week before, it's very real. Why do I need to keep doing action and choosing and doing things? Because all it does is increase my karmas. Right? Every action I take brings me a result and a consequence. Why do I need to keep doing that? So remember, number one, it's not just action. Intention also carries with it some consequence. In fact, I may have told you this, in criminal law, your penalty is based on mens rea, your mental state. So the same thing, if it's accidental, carries lesser penalty than if something is negligent, or reckless carries even more penalty, intentional carries even more penalty, and calculated carries the most amount of penalty, punishment. You know what I'm saying, right? Accidental, negligence, recklessness, intentional, and calculated, premeditated. So it's not just what you do, it's also what state of mind with which you do it. And the top of the line, what can we do the most, was Sankhya Yoga. Recognize who we really are. But that didn't work, and that doesn't work for us. So if you notice, all of us are karma yogis. Continuously, just when you think, I don't know if you thought, okay, after WCF, things will go quiet, maybe Gurudev is going to retreat, he'll be doing more silence from somewhere. And did you all think that? Like somehow there would be some big shift into less activity? At least it seemed like Gurudev will be doing less, moving, I should say, less. But that's not the case. He's in fact more active, more in movement than ever before. Yes? If you look continuously, what you hear is seva, seva, seva. Selfless action. Because we cannot help but act. That's already fixed. He already said that. Lord Krishna said that a couple verses ago. You cannot help but do this or do that. Be busy in movement, in activity. But when you're doing it for me and mine, it carries karmas, consequences for me. Yes? But when we're doing selfless seva or action, then what happens? The mind gets purified. You are clear about this, right? Karma yoga is a way so that we can live an established Sankhya Yoga, the knowledge, the wisdom. I've said this many, many times. Here and there, we have clarity about the wisdom. We're so clear about the knowledge. It lasts maybe 1 day, 1 hour for one incident, and then we're back again. Back in the same small-minded mud. Yes? You notice that. So when we do Karma Yoga, selfless action, not for me and mine, but for us, and moving from us to, because this is all part of one divine will, then what we do, we purify buddhi, mind. And when the buddhi purifies those 4 pillars of knowledge, you remember that? Yes, we have this you have discussed many, many times. You get established in the 4 pillars of knowledge. And only then can we live the knowledge more and more and more. Only then does it start to become an experience rather than an idea. And even if it's an experience now, it starts to become something that lasts more than just for a fleeting moment here and there. So Karma Yoga is to purify our own nervous system, to burn out some of the vasanas. I want more. I want to do more. I should have more. I need to be important. People need to recognize me. People need to see that I did do that or I didn't do that. All of those things are there. The driver behind the action is there. But except now you're doing it for something greater, for the community or for the divine. And the more you move away from me and mine, the quicker the purification is. That's when you find freedom. How do you know the mind is getting purified? How freely you move into life. Look, go back to when you first started in Art of Living. Go back to when you did the courses. And then at some point you started to get engaged, not just sadhana, but then you acted and added seva to your practices, right? Sadhana, seva, satsang, so on. So then you added seva to your practice. And if you notice, that's when you found yourself more strong, more powerful, more centered, more free, more willing to take chances, more willing to go for it, assuming that your seva was for the greater good and you weren't sneaking around trying to find how to serve yourself. Are you hearing what I'm saying to you? This is why again and again and again we have to police ourselves. When we do the seva, do we get stuck in my idea or your idea? My way or your way? This is the way to do it. I'm not going to do it if they're going to do it. Yes or no? And sometimes we get tired. There's water that's being poured on our enthusiasm, and then we get tired. But honestly, I have come to realize the more tired I am, the more I have to examine my motive. What is it that's really driving me to move towards my seva? Because if it's to serve people, you will again and again and again come back renewed with energy and enthusiasm to say, oh, this doesn't work, let's do that. That doesn't work, let's try that. But some people, after a short amount of time, A, B, C, this didn't work, that thing happened, those politics, those people, that thing, then they really pull back. Do you hear me? You understand? You know this situation, right? Either for yourself or someone near, close to you, you'll recognize this. So, a test of being a karma yogi is to see how free and how open and how lively with which you live, with power and energy and enthusiasm, and you jump into something, okay, no, okay, fine, jump into something else. It doesn't mean you're foolish. It doesn't mean you don't draw lines. You'll be clear, you'll be firm, but again and again and again, you pick up the flag or the danda and put it under the Govardhan mountain. Yes? No? I already lost your enthusiasm. You should see yourselves. You're like, oh, come on. Look, this is a self-discovery journey. If you're finding like, oh wow, I haven't been doing that, I get caught up for myself. I don't remember where I was. I think I was doing a talk in Austin, and they had to choose something new to do. And I won't say the name, but someone got up and said, my new thing that I'm going to do is say yes to someone else's idea. Why? Because I always get stuck in my idea, and because they didn't say it this way, they were more elegant, but I get stuck in my idea and I want to do what I want to do. So I want to really do seva. I'm going to support what the group does. I'm going to get behind their idea. It was the most beautiful sharing. I think, Pramod, you would remember. It was probably in Austin, no? It's such an amazing thing. So I don't want you to be hard. Like as I'm sharing with you, I'm also recognizing, okay, I could shift that. I could shift that. But it's interesting. The other day, Kasha, I'm sure you all know her, Philip's wife, she was saying something because I have this new idea, and she's saying, wow, 35 years later, you still keep coming up with, now let's do this and let's do that. Because we're all karma yogis. The truth is, if you look at Gurudev, he's a yogi, period. But the most visible quality of Gurudev in some moments is karma yogi, right? We fall into a karma yoga, but he's a pure, how much activity. We started with one tiny course, Art of Living Part 1 course. When I started in 1988, 89, that's it. And then once in a while there was Part 2. And very rarely there was Sahaj. We just had these 3 core courses. Now, I don't know. When you watch Love Moves the World, we have like what? How many courses does it say that we have? Over, 155? I don't know. There's so many different, that's just courses. We have industries, people. We have Shri Tattva. That's not just Ayurveda. We have grains and 57 courses. See, I wasn't so far off. 55 is what I thought. We have 57 courses. I don't even know the name of them all. Reshma, maybe she does. She's the one who texted 57. Just think about that. We have fashion. Have you seen, we put it, okay, Shri Tattva. We have fashion. Everything that is in the world, we have going on. This is a sign of karma yogi. So you have to figure out, okay, let me get more active. Let me get behind something that's inspiring, that serves someone else. And if that means I'm going to have to take a few bumps along the way and my nose bleeds. Well, just take a tissue box, walk around with it, wipe it clean, but keep moving. Because Vairagya, Viveka, the sixth wealth, and Mumukshatva, these four wealths cannot establish if the mind is not purified. I told you this the last time. You sit to meditate. How do you know how pure the mind is, whether it's in sattva or rajas or tamas? Just sit down, even with eyes open. Forget eyes closed, because maybe you get to daydream. With eyes open, just look at some flowers and say, for the next 3 minutes, I'm just going to be with the flowers, not God, something concrete, flowers, purple, bright yellow, and white orchids. You'll be looking, and then what? 10 seconds later, you're climbing on top of those orchids, doing God knows what with your mind. Isn't it? We can't, how long can we sit with the divine within us, or nature for that matter? You know, you go to the ocean, oh, so beautiful, and then, oh man, there's tar on my feet. Why is there so much pollution here? Look at these people on the, okay, this is how much the mind is not purified. Then we say, Guruji, I've been here 20 years. I'm doing sadhana every day, but I'm just not, yeah. When am I finally going to get enlightened? You know, in certain organizations, they used to have a path. If you meditate 10 years every day, then this state of consciousness will develop. And then another 5 years, and then these. And at 25 years later, you'll have unity consciousness. 25 years later, those people are saying, now it's 35 years later. I'm still in individual consciousness, no unity, not even, you know, couple consciousness, just me and myself and I. Because there has been no purification of the mind happening. This is very, very important. We have to establish the 4 pillars of knowledge. What is Vairagya? Dispassion. Dispassion for what? From the senses. No? Just look into it a little bit further. 4 pillars of knowledge, not to have a good time in life. It's 4 pillars of knowledge to go to the self. Even this, I'm telling you, is not so clear for people. 4 pillars of knowledge. If I have that, I'll have a good life, you know, good family, lots of money, good partner, and, you know, good everything. No. Those things are not what the 4 pillars of knowledge are about. They are about getting to the self. And the first 3 pillars of knowledge, including the 6th wealth, which is the 3rd pillar, what that does is it intensifies mumukshatva, aspiration for freedom, for something higher. And it has to be intense. Mumukshatva is not just wanting, you know, thinking, feeling like you want to think about something greater, higher. It has to have intensity in it. Vyakulta. You know what Vyakul means? Vyakul is, because they use it for like Meera, the saints. They, you know, Vyakulta is a spiritual restlessness. You know, spiritual longing, restlessness. Yeah, longing. Oh my God. You know, this intensity is a good word for it. Even now, how many of us are sitting here with intensity about what we do and what we study? Oh, I met people while Gurudev was here. Didi, I've been following you on Instagram. My first thing is, no, please don't bring that up. But then, no, I've been following your Instagram. And most of all, I've been following your Bhagavad Gita. Oh, yeah? When was the last time you heard a session? No, I heard the first 2. I haven't had time. That is not Vyakulta. That is not Mumukshatva. You know, I go to parties on weekends and I work all week long and I'm chasing my dream and, you know, I'm building my business and dating and, eating in restaurants and all those things, and 20 minutes in the morning and 20 minutes at night I'm doing my sadhana, and Didi, I'm not transcending and I'm not establishing in the self. Okay. That's not a question anymore. So what happens? Again, I'm reminding you, I'm saying the obvious. I know that you know this, but we forget, we forget our clarity of mind. Remember what I said. Intention, mens rea, determines the consequences, cause and effect. And I'm saying, seva, the purity of our intention of our seva to serve others or the divine, whichever way we look at it, to be living ethically and morally is just the beginning of me and mine to ethics and morality. Remember, Lord Krishna did that with Arjun. Yes, you remember that? Early on in the thing. So we move from, I want this, I should have this, I don't have this, why don't I have this? Okay, well, that's really wrong for me to ask for, because recognizing that and then moving from ethics to you and ours, and moving from there to divine and oneness, and it's part of one life. And we so, it's like we forget that we're rooted in the earth. If you look at a tree, you will never think that the tree is independent from the earth, would you? Shake your head, yes or no? Would you think that the tree is independent from the earth? No. Would we think the tree is independent from the space? Maybe, but it's really not. If it doesn't have the space, it can't grow. Do we think the tree is independent existence from the sun and the rain? No. We don't. But just because we have mobility, an appearance of mobility that the tree does not have, we operate as a separate entity from all that's around us. But just like the tree is tethered to the earth, so are we not? Gravity binds us to the earth, just like the roots of the tree is bound in the soil. And it doesn't look like the tree moves, but certainly it moves. The roots go under, it grows, it's moving, isn't it? You put a plant in a little pot, and then the roots come, and then you give it a bigger house, it's moving. And then, it's got a good job, and it's getting good salary, so it gets even a bigger house, bigger pot. And then it has little family members, roots grow, and don't you see? We forget, we feel so separate, and through seva, at some point slowly, we start to recognize that I'm not the chair that appears to be separate from the rest, but even the chair is not. Look at the context of the room that's in front of you. By itself, the chair will not be part of a living room. It'll be a chair stuck in an empty room. You add a sofa in front of it, put a rug under it, put a table in the middle, and suddenly it's in the context of a whole. Its existence gets awakened, enlivened, and there's a relationship between it and the furniture that's in front of it. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yes or no? Our existence has that same connection, context to everything, but we limit our context to my wife and my son and my daughter and my things and my house and this place. Imagine a tree says, I occupy this space and this is all me and this is it. It will never sustain itself. It will drop fruits, seeds, and it will grow. So I didn't intend to turn this into a talk on seva, but karma yoga is seva. Can you just shake your hands a little so I know you're awake and present? You know, we serve ourselves when we serve others. And this is not, I'm not talking philosophy, honestly. Just go research a little bit in neuroscience and you will see it has been proven in so many ways that your context, you expand when you serve others. Everything in your life up levels in service to others. For the obvious reason, we don't take as many risks for ourselves as we are willing to for others. And in this case, when we're talking about seva, it's at the expense of the organization / guru. We get to do all kinds of things. By yourself, would you plan a party like you planned for Gurudev's visit? Let's go and we'll figure it out, whether it's money or time or effort or energy. No, we can't do that. We don't have the money. We don't have the room. Who's going to help us? It's me and my job. No, but when it comes to these things, we throw the ball. We don't even care where we're looking, aiming or not. And that's a gift. It's a blessing. So, Vairagya, this passion is what? From the senses, from me and mine. That's what the senses do. They continuously remind you of you. I like it, I don't like it, I want it, I should eat it, I should taste it, I should listen to the music, it belongs to me. No? Viveka means discerning that which is permanent, non-changing, and changing. It's not discern between right and wrong only. It begins that way. When we're talking about ethics, we get into discerning between right and wrong, ethical and unethical. But eventually, Viveka leads to changing and non-changing. Are you still listening? Are you with me? And then we have the sixth wealth. You remember the sixth wealth? You do? Okay. Anyway, then it's 7:15 already. It's a very, today's conversation and all other conversations, but particularly now, it's really a question about self-examination. To ask oneself, what am I doing? How am I living? Is my seva just another expression of what I do in my life? Or is the seva transforming? Is seva the expression for my life? Do you understand? You need to look and see. Does how you run your business and your life end up being how you run seva? Or is how you're running seva impacting how you run your life, where you feel a greater sense of connection, belonging, willingness to be open, willingness to be direct in a loving way, of course, and clear, knowing that we're family and I can share and talk and say what's going on for me and then move on. Contribute, walk together. These things become a conversation for oneself. And that's really what Krishna Bhagavan is talking about, Man is bound by his own action, except when it's performed for the sake of sacrifice. Therefore, Arjuna, do you efficiently perform your duty, free from attachment, for the sake of sacrifice alone. That's our journey. That doesn't mean when we do business, we say, oh, that's not it. Having this intention of something wider and bigger. Eyes closed. Let's just close our eyes a moment. And take a nice long breath in. And let it go. Satyam param dhimahi. Satyam Jai Gurudev. God bless. See you next week.
Very good.
Jai Gurudev.